Hey, Veteran Nation fans, you got me while I'm driving. This is going to be drive time, story time. But I've got my hands free thing and I won't be really looking at the camera, so we're all good. Today, I want to talk about a veteran who I've given some help to in the past, who I'm currently helping as well. What has happened with this veteran is they were trying to get I believe, an appointment because they have a civilian doctor who has diagnosed them with a neurological disorder. We'll just say that. So, civilian doctor has made the diagnosis. They are upset that this veteran is using a civilian doctor. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. They're seeing a doctor. The doctor has made a diagnosis. And what this individual was saying was, you have to come in for one of our tests. That's not the way it works. You're not a doctor. You can't overrule a doctor who has made a diagnosis. So that's the issue right there. Like, they could call, if they make this veteran makes a claim, they can call him in for a CMP, but they can't say, no, we have to diagnose you. That's not at all how this works. So that's what was going on. Well, then, and they were arguing back and forth. And this person, this government worker at the VA, was so upset that this veteran wasn't just taking what this worker was saying as gospel and saying, okay, yeah, I'll do that, that they hung up on the veteran, okay? So they ended the call. And then they called 911 and asked for a welfare check. Asked for a welfare check on this veteran. That is 100% harassment. Like, only if you have a legitimate belief that the veteran is a danger to themselves or others do you call for a welfare check. Not because they just don't want to do what you're telling them to do. That's not how this works. You don't get to order people around, and if they don't do it, now you're going to send the cops. That is abuse of process, abuse of position, and abuse of public. What am I trying to say? The police. Abuse of public authority. So that happens. But it does not stop there, folks. It does not stop there. The next day, okay? So the cops show up to this veteran's house. Well, that day the cops show up to this veteran's house. The veteran is like, there's no problem here. The person at the VA was just very upset that I was not going to do what they were telling me to do because I don't need to do it. So they were upset about that, and the cops are like, okay, you're not a threat to anyone? No. And I've got, family here who will attest to that. And so they went away. So then the next day, this same worker at the VA, who's just an administrator, this is not a doctor, it's not a nurse, it's just someone essentially in the call center, okay, calls the veteran and hangs up. This is pure harassment. So I am not in a position right now to I've talked to that veteran. I've said, look, you need to talk about this publicly. I've also said you need to talk to your congressperson about it. I said, but we need to get our ducks in a row first. I said, what you need to do is FOIA everything about these calls. If there's a recording, you need to get the recording. If not, you need documentation showing when these calls took place, both the call that they hung up on you, where you were arguing, the calls to 911, and the hang-up phone call. I go, you need to get all of these, and then we're going to do other steps. Now, because I don't want to out this veteran, I also don't want to tip my hat, I'm not going to say at this time what those steps are, but I want you guys all to be cognizant that this is what's happening, that this is what, this is the type of stuff that people at the VA do to veterans. This is abuse to veterans. And it's ridiculous that we have to put up with this stuff. It's just crazy and ridiculous. And I wish this were the only case, but this happens. So, and I'm posting this also for all those veterans out there who are, whenever they hear about something wrong with the VA, well, my VA is great. Good for you. This is sadly too common. Like, this is not a one-off. I have seen this happen to other veterans, and it's a huge freaking problem. And I'm not going to be silent about it. I know people like me, TC, Kahanu, we're going to talk about it. And I don't want to get too far into this is that veteran's story. They have a right to tell their story. If I misrepresented anything, I hope they correct me. But, I do want to have this veteran on if they will. Not every veteran wants to talk about it, but because I've been working with this one so close, and I've been telling this veteran, look, you need to talk about this. The more public this is, the more you'll get some type of satisfaction out of it. And that is the truth with a lot of these things when it comes to government accountability. When you shine a light on it, it becomes, when you turn the lights on, the cockroaches scatter. That's what happens. So that's why government accountability, transparency, that's why these things are so, so, so important. And, I'm glad that you guys were with me on my drive so that I can at least show you some of the behind the scenes. I get these type of things all the time. I help veterans, but a lot of them don't want to come on. But I think this one is going to come on, and we're going to do some interviews and a story about it. And it's sad, very sad that this is what veterans have to go through. So for those of you watching, please tag other veterans. Send this to your congressperson. Send this to the White House. Send this to the White House, because we need to highlight these things and stop them from happening. This is the only way it's going to stop. So I appreciate you guys being here, listening. Please give a comment, give a like. Again, share this out, especially to veterans. Send this to veteran organizations. And as always, thank you for being worth serving.